I'm Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional. And together we make
Whole Life Vitality. We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome.
We are so excited to be here with you today.
We are always excited.
We are. Truth. We just love hanging out with you.
Yes.
All right, Sunny, what are we talking about today?
Okay. So are you one of those people, or do you know someone who constantly wants to be, no, I'm going to say it doesn't want,
Feels compelled.
needs to be liked.
Okay.
Like to the point that it is like interrupting their life.
Okay.
That they need this approval from other people. And it's almost, have you ever heard them say, well, I have to do this? And you're like,
Or what?
do you?
Or what?
So this has come up a lot within some relationships that I have, friendships, and even coaching relationships. This people pleasing, this is because that's what it is. It's a form of people pleasing, but this need to be liked.
It sounds like they're almost like wrapping their identity up in the approval of others.
Yes.
Or in their need to people please. It's like, this is who I am.
Yes. So I really, in talking with, these people and coaching, it's real to them. Like it feels very real to them, but in essence, it's an illusion.
Yeah.
The illusion of approval. You don't have to have it.
I mean, what do you have to have, really?
You want it.
Of course.
They want it, but it is not actually a need. It's a want.
Need is such a strong word.
Such a strong word. Hey, it's a strong word. It's a very strong word. But they feel, they feel it's so real. And it's interesting because I've had conversations where when I have, kind of brought this to light on what it is, they have responded, but this situation is different.
Well, yeah, because we always need to justify our behavior.
But this situation
No,
is
but
different.
you don't understand. This is why for this time I would do this thing. Okay.
Yes. So I wanted to kind of talk about that, bring that up today. People pleasers aren't trying to please other people. They're trying to avoid their own feelings of shame when they disappoint someone.
Wow. That is intense.
Listen to that again. People pleasers aren't trying to please other people. They're actually trying to avoid their own feelings of shame when they disappoint someone.
Oh my gosh.
So they would rather make themselves uncomfortable than have someone be disappointed or dislike them or angry at them.
Because the discomfort of the disapproval is more uncomfortable than the discomfort of just doing the thing.
Yes. So in essence, what's really happening here is the illusion of approval is trying to control how someone views you. Mm-hmm. That's what's going on. You are trying to control how another person views you.
Mm-hmm.
So
what was that? What was that C word that you just used a couple times?
Control.
I like to use the word micromanage.
Yeah. Yeah. Insert either one here. But if you've been with us for a minute, you know that what is within our control in this life?
Not a whole lot.
Only
Ourselves.
Yeah.
Only I can control my own fingers and my own toes.
What we choose, how we choose to think, how we choose to respond to someone. We cannot control how another person feels about us, how they view us, what they say to us. That's not within your control.
And we get to choose if we pick up their discomfort.
Yes.
And if they're upset with us about not pleasing them in some way.
Yeah.
Then we get to choose whether or not to take that personally, because that is something we can control.
Absolutely. So really, when you are, and like we said, this is a form of people pleasing. So when you are sitting in this people pleasing form where you have a need for approval, a need to be liked, a need to be accepted by all, a need to be patted on the back, what's happening is you've set a goal for universal likability. That's your goal. I have a goal that everyone will like me. Everyone.
Do you ever feel like that when we post something on social media?
This is so good. And everyone's going to like it.
We put it out there and we're like, everyone's going to like it. And then somebody says something that's maybe a little bit snarky. And we're like, oh, dang it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that was being gentle.
Yeah. We learned real quick.
We did.
Universal likability is not a thing.
Just don't pick it up.
But when you are sitting in the illusion of approval, your goal is universal likability, because you believe that to be liked and accepted is equating to success. You're successful if everyone likes you, if everyone's patting you on the back, if everyone is lifting you up. That means, hey, I've done a good job. I'm a good person.
That's what I was going to say. I'm a good person.
I'm a good
You're
person.
using it to define your self-worth.
Yes. And this can be really, really damaging. People pleasing in itself can be very damaging, but there's always, there's different sects to it. But this one is really damaging because you put your well-being way on the back burner for this other person's needs. And you think that every time you say yes, or you put yourself out there, that they're going to like you.
Every time you shoot yourself in the foot so someone else can run a marathon, someone else is going to like you.
Yes.
That's not how it works.
And this time, and it can be that you are constantly, chasing this difficult person. But if you just try harder, they'll like you.
Oh, I've been there. I think a lot of people have been there.
A lot of people have been there. And, this can be used for anyone that's been in that place. But specifically those people that constantly live in a state of stress because they're always trying to meet the needs of others so that they're liked. And this can affect your relationships with those you love if you are always on call for someone else. And it can affect how you feel. You can enter depressions and, anxiety disorders, constantly being in fight or flight for someone else's needs.
It's interesting. I was reading this book yesterday as we were prepping for this podcast, and I didn't know it was going to come up for this particular podcast, but they were talking about relationships and how he had gone to a marriage conference, and they said, okay, what percentage do you need to put into a healthy relationship in order to have a healthy relationship? And everyone's like 50-50, and somebody's like 51-49, because you always have to do a little bit more. And on the board, he wrote 100 and 0. And he said, because if you're putting 100% into your relationship and expecting 0 in return, and both people are doing that, every time it works out.
Everyone wins. Everyone wins.
And so when you're going into this saying, but I am putting 100% in, but what are you expecting?
Yeah. And that's so fantastic, because it's all about expectations. You can help someone out. I love helping people. I do. You can help someone, but what are your reasonings for doing that? Are you doing it because if you say no, they might be mad at you? Or if you say no, then that means you lose all of their business? Like, is there a fear wrapped around helping them? Or do you just have the time, space, and capacity to help, and you just want to help?
Are you hoping to cash in future IOUs? Like,
Yeah.
are you building up what you think is a karmic tab?
Yeah. Just this past weekend, my cousin, who's been in the Marines for 6 years, he is coming home, him and his beautiful wife and their beautiful daughters. And they were having to pack up and move by themselves and, come back. And North Carolina to here is about, 13 hours.
That's a long time.
Me and my cousin, we packed up and we said, we're going to go and we're going to help them. And I got a lot of, what in the world? That sounds miserable. Why would you do that? I was like, yeah, packing is not awesome. But it was the simple, I want to help them. They didn't ask me to. Mm-hmm. I didn't even tell them I was coming. I surprised them.
But I love that.
I didn't, it wasn't because I felt like I had to. I wanted to do that. And I had the space and the availability. And even though I was dog tired afterwards, I still felt so fulfilled. I loved being able to be there, spend time with them, help them out. That's not people pleasing.
And you expected zero.
I expected zero, and I just wanted to do that because I love them. I'm happy that they get to move back home.
So is that the big difference between doing something for someone and people pleasing in the return, in what you expect?
In the return of what you're expecting and your motives. What are your motives behind that? And so I had a talk recently and they said, well, what can I do? What can I do? And so I really started thinking about that, because that's what we want to do here. That's what this space is for, is giving you, application, not just talking about what's wrong, but giving you application for it. And you'll look and they'll be like, follow these easy 25 steps to avoid.
So easy.
I'm like, okay, let's not do that.
Just set aside everything else that you were planning on doing today.
Yeah. So I cut it down to 3.
3 is great.
3 easy steps, and they're not easy. Because it can be simple.
That's what I was going to say.
It can be simple, but sometimes breaking free from something that has had a mental stronghold is not easy. It takes work, but I wouldn't be saying it if it couldn't be done. All right?
I always tell people, at this point, we have 40 years perfecting where we are right now.
Yes.
Our neural pathways are set. Our habits are set. All of these things are set. And we are really good at it.
Yeah.
And so if we want to change something, it's going to take practice.
It's going to take practice.
And it's going to take a minute because we are pretty secure where we are.
And the older you get, it takes a hot minute.
Baby steps.
But it can be done. And that's what we're doing here. We're going to build your belief.
Yep.
Maybe you don't believe in yourself, but you can borrow our belief because we believe in you.
We have some to share.
Yes. So step 1, okay? You need to build and maintain barriers when fighting the illusion of approval, because the barriers serve as protection and signals to others about your limitations. Okay.
So a barrier like a boundary?
Yes.
Okay.
Like a boundary.
All right.
So here's the deal. If boundary sounds too, because I've had clients where I'm like, we're going to set a boundary here, and immediately they freak out because they see this wall coming up. They're just a little barrier. So some sandbags. Okay. We live in a hurricane ridden area.
Sandbags.
Put some sandbags.
Sound like protection.
Sounds like protection.
They don't sound like building a wall.
Yes. So here's some barriers. So we're going to start small here. I'm going to use my husband as an example. Okay. My husband is a busy man. But there is a certain thing. I grew up in a family that dinner time was precious. We had dinner around the table every night. That was a blessing. And that is something that I hold to. So my rule, there's no phones at the table. That is our time together. So even starting small like that, because you can go to a restaurant and see that simultaneously everyone there, why did you even go out, number one? But everyone there, they're on their phones. So even when you're doing this, set this barrier that, okay, I'm busy, but at this time, this is when I cut off. Okay, this is the time that I cut off. So even if you have to start small and say, for this dinner time, there is no phone. There will be no answering. There will be no texting. Because the illusion of approval says to them, okay, if I don't respond right now, then they're going to be angry.
I'm available all the time.
I'm available
anytime.
all the time. All the time. And that's an illusion. Okay.
Because
So
no one is.
says no one is available 24/7.
No.
We're always telling you to reach out, but there's certain times that we're going to get back to you.
That's right. And you will be more respected if you set those boundaries, if you set those barriers, if you say, hey, I am definitely going to get back to you. I appreciate you. This is when I'm available.
Yes. So you really need to focus on your values there. Your barriers, your boundaries are a reflection of your values. Well, for us, our family that's really high on our values list for me and my husband. So start small with these barriers, these boundaries. But I like barriers, these little barriers. When you are needing, like I need approval, set yourself some barriers. Okay, for lunch, this lunch hour, I'm not responding to anyone. I'm going to sit and I'm going to enjoy my lunch. So you put your phone on Do Not Disturb. That's a small step that you can take that pays big dividends. Okay?
Yesterday, I got home from my very, very full day, and for like 5 seconds, nobody needed me.
Yeah.
So I went in my closet. I laid down on the floor in my closet. I grabbed a bathrobe and shoved it under my head. I put my phone in Do Not Disturb and I closed my eyes for 30 minutes.
There you go.
On the floor in my closet.
Wherever.
And my kids couldn't find me. And it was fine because nobody actually really needed me. But my son, when he did see me, I didn't know you were home. And I was like, perfect.
Success.
I got 30 minutes of quiet and I needed it because yesterday was a full day.
Yes. So however that looks, start small. So set small little barriers for yourself, whether it's a lunch hour or a dinner time or you cut off, because sometimes you can make yourself available in your evening time, and that's where your body really needs rest.
Yes.
So, okay, work is over at, XYZ, and this is the time that if you text me after that, you're going to get a response tomorrow morning when I start work.
And in this digital age that we live in, where so many people are entrepreneurs, it is really, really hard to turn it off.
Yes.
To turn it off and just say no more. I mean, we run businesses.
Right.
We cater to people. We have families. We're in school. We do a lot of things. And you have to have a definitive, this is this time, set time for this. And this is the set time for family or for quiet or for, winding down for the day. Because otherwise it will just eat you alive.
It'll keep coming up for sure. So that's step one. Step two is learn to say no. And this one takes practice. And that's why I've already prepared for you. You create a list of one-liners.
Okay. You're going to give us a cheat sheet?
Yes. So these are some one-liners that you say. Thank you for thinking of me. I'm actually all booked up right now, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or thank you so much for, reaching out, but I'm actually completely full at this time.
I don't have space for that right now.
Yes.
I feel like that's a good one because it means if you could not have mental space for it right now, and that's okay. Or I don't have the capacity for that right now. There are so many things that you can say that are truth that aren't saying, well, my calendar's completely booked, because maybe it isn't, but maybe you are just in your brain, do not have room right now. And that's okay too.
Yes. I would love that. Like that sounds great. Maybe they ask you to, step in and coach for your kids' soccer team. And like, listen, I love that. I love the sport, but actually, we don't have the availability. Yeah. I couldn't put myself into it right now.
In a different season, maybe we could, but it's not that kind of season for us right now.
So you know your schedule. You know the people in your life. So cater these. Go ahead and write you a list. I know that sounds funny, but I'm serious. Your brain wants to use the least amount of energy. So saying yes is the easiest thing. Least amount of energy. You just say yes. So write these one-liners, put them in a notebook, put them in your truck, put them in your car, keep them in your bag, so that when someone comes out and that anxiety starts to come up in your chest and you're like, I really can't, but put out your one-liners. Polite. You can Google one-liner ways to say no. It's not a rejection of the person.
Nope.
That's what I need you to understand.
It's not personal.
When you say no to these people, it's not a rejection of them. It's putting your values first.
Yep. If they say practice things in cold situations so you understand them and are comfortable with them in hot situations.
Yes.
So at home, when there's not a lot going on, you're like, no thanks, I'm good right now. Or, you know what, I just don't really have the space for that right now. And practice those with yourself.
Yes.
And then when you feel like the tension's high and the moment is hot and you're in it and you're like, I have to say yes, I have to say yes. Then you say, actually, I know what to say here.
Yes. And that leads us into step 3, which is challenge your inner critic. Because the reason you're saying yes to everything that you actually don't have the space and the capacity for is because you're telling yourself these things that aren't true.
Yeah.
That they won't like you, that they'll speak like ill of you, that you're going to disappoint them.
That it will damage your self-worth, that you're not a good person.
Yes. Your business will fail because of it. Your relationship will fail because of it. All of these things. And what I need you to do, your inner voice pushes us to prioritize others, but you have to question your thinking.
Yeah.
So if you're saying to yourself, I have to say yes, because if I don't, they're going to be mad at me. Okay, let's stop here. Think about that. Anytime I should, I have to, those types of thinking, the all or nothing thinking, and that's what that is. You need to question, those red flags come up.
Yeah.
So tell yourself, okay, listen, I have to say yes. Why am I saying that I have to say yes? I have to say yes because they'll be angry at me. Okay. Will they really be angry at you? What proof do you have of this?
And if yes, they really will, then it's not your responsibility to manage their feelings.
Will my business really fail if I don't show up at this person's house at 8 p.m. to help them out? Well, if I prioritize family values and my wife, my kids, my family is important to me. If I promote going to this person's house at 8 p.m., then that means that that's what I'm prioritizing, is that's the type of business I run, but that's not what I want my business to be. I want, so you're always got to bring it back to your values, bring it back to your priorities. Do these align with what God has asked me to do in my life? And that's really where, and I got to read this.
We'll edit this out. Take your time.
Hold on. Let me get it there.
You had to sing your theme music on the way.
I know. Aiden pointed that out to me yesterday.
That's so good.
I'm like, Galatians.
Just segue into it again so I can edit out in the middle.
Okay. I don't even know what I started with. Okay. So here's the deal. It's even in the Bible. Do you know the need for approval is even in the Bible? Apostle Paul said in Galatians.
It's not surprising. I mean, this has been since the dawn of time that we've needed approval. I mean, Eve was like, oh, you think I should eat this?
Yeah.
You know what? I bet you'll like me better if I eat this. Thank you, little snake.
I'll be better. Galatians 1:10 said, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Am I trying to please people? If I were still trying to please people, I would not be a servant of Christ. So
what do you prioritize?
What are you prioritizing? Yeah. And even questioning that, challenge your inner critic and say right here, am I saying yes to this because I'm trying to please people? What is my motive behind this? Am I feeling a void here? Or does this indeed align with the life that I'm trying to live, with my purpose, with my calling? If I say yes, is it in alignment? Then that's okay. But if the answer is no, then you are trying to please people.
Yep. Maybe it's time to reevaluate.
Time to reevaluate. So, is it true? Challenge your inner critic. Those are the 3 steps. And understand this. When you begin this journey, it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay?
Because it's new.
Because it's new. It's going to feel bad. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, there will be moments. There might be moments that it feels really good and you feel really empowered. And there might be moments that it feels pretty awful.
This is going to be a terrain of uncomfortability. Okay. You're going to hang up the phone or put down the phone after sending that test, and it's going to make you feel a little sick, probably. The good news is the more that you do it, the easier that it becomes.
That's right. That's right. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. One of my favorite things was a friend of mine told me it's being an emotionally mature adult is taking responsibility for your own physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being.
Yes.
And allowing other people to do the same.
Absolutely.
Just recognizing that if you're a parent, you know who you're responsible for and you can take care of them. And if you are not, then honestly, you're not really responsible for anyone else.
Amen. All right. The illusion of approval.
That's right.
It's not real.
Yeah.
There is no universal likability.
Yep.
It doesn't happen. You can be great. Even Jesus was perfect. Lots of people didn't like him.
Yep. You know, I think this podcast goes perfectly with that amazing ebook that you wrote about relationships.
Relationships.
That's such a great one. If you haven't gotten yourself a copy of that fantastic ebook that my friend Sunny Lippincott wrote, then you should definitely grab yourself a copy. We'll make sure that we link it below. As always, please like and subscribe. Share this with your friends. Share the love, share the wealth. Reach out. We would love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
We just love spending time with you. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, friends.